In the shadowy corridors of correctional facilities worldwide, over 4,000 cases of inappropriate relationships between guards and inmates are reported annually, and experts believe this represents just 30% of actual occurrences. Behind the concrete walls of St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center in Jamaica, one such forbidden connection would ultimately claim 3 lives in a tragedy that shocked an entire nation. What drives a person with everything to lose, career, family, freedom, to risk it all for stolen moments with someone society has deemed untouchable? What happens when prison protocols collapse and human desire overrides professional duty? Pause for emphasis. On April 15, 2018, the body of a pregnant inmate lay motionless on cold medical wing tiles, marks of strangulation visible on her neck. Nearby, a corrections officer who had sworn to protect those in custody was found dead by his own hand. Their illicit romance had begun with subtle glances, escalated through secret messages, and culminated in a devastating act that exposed catastrophic failures throughout Jamaica's prison system. Could anyone have prevented this deadly outcome? Were there warning signs that officials ignored? And most importantly, how thin is the line between attraction and exploitation when one person holds the keys to another's cage? Tonight, we examine how privilege, vulnerability, and obsession transformed a workplace flirtation into a fatal affair. If this is your first time joining us on True Crime Hunter, click subscribe now and activate notifications. You don't want to miss our weekly journeys into humanity's darkest impulses and the lives forever altered in their wake. Have you ever witnessed workplace relationships cross dangerous boundaries? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tanya Wilson never expected to end up at St. Catherine. The 29-year-old Montego Bay native grew up in a household where education was paramount. Her father managed one of the area's mid-tier hotels, while her mother taught literature at a local secondary school. Their combined income provided comfort without excess, allowing Tanya to attend university where she excelled in business administration. 2 years into her degree program, reality struck. Her father suffered a stroke, medical bills accumulated, and her mother's salary couldn't cover both healthcare costs and tuition. Tanya withdrew from university, taking a series of low-paying hospitality jobs that barely covered rent. "I remember thinking I needed just one opportunity to get back on track," Tanya later told prison psychologist Dr. Rivera. "When someone offered me $5,000 to transport a package to London, it felt like the answer to my prayers." That decision landed her a 6-year sentence for international drug trafficking in 2016. Authorities at Heathrow Airport discovered 2 kilograms of cocaine sewn into the lining of her suitcase, a rookie mistake that highlighted her desperation rather than criminal sophistication. At St. Catherine, Tanya immediately distinguished herself. While most new inmates retreated into defensive isolation, she applied her education constructively, organizing a small library in the recreational area and offering to help fellow inmates draft appeal letters. Warden Patterson noticed her initiative. "We need more hands in administration," he reportedly told staff, "someone who can read and write properly." By her 6th month, Tanya worked 4 hours daily in the administrative office, a coveted position that provided relief from the oppressive monotony of cell life. She maintained prisoner files, transcribed meeting notes, and organized supply requisitions. It was here, beneath fluorescent lights of the admin wing, that she first encountered Officer Marcus Dawkins. Their initial interactions remained strictly professional, him delivering daily security reports, her filing them accordingly. Yet even other staff noticed a peculiar energy when they occupied the same space, a tension masked by formal courtesies. Neither realized these mundane exchanges marked the beginning of a path toward catastrophe. Marcus Dawkins joined the Jamaica Defense Force at 19, serving 6 years before transitioning to corrections work at St. Catherine. His military training defined his approach to guard duty, methodical, disciplined, and by the book. Colleagues knew him as Officer Dawkins, the man who never bent rules and expected the same rigid adherence from inmates. Marcus ran his cell block like a military unit, former colleague Officer Jerome Taylor recalled. Inmates knew exactly where the boundaries stood with him. No exceptions, no favors. Behind his professional facade, Marcus's personal life was disintegrating. His second child, Michael, was born with a congenital heart condition requiring multiple surgeries. The specialized care facilities existed only in Miami, forcing the family to travel internationally for treatments they could barely afford. His wife, Veronica, initially handled the stress together with Marcus, but the mounting medical debts, exceeding $150,000 by 2016, created fractures in their marriage. Their conversations reduced to terse exchanges about finances and medical appointments. "I haven't slept in the same bed as my wife in over a year," Marcus confided to a fellow officer. "When I'm home, she's at the hospital. When she's home, I'm working doubles." Those double shifts became his refuge, a place where his authority remained unchallenged, unlike at home where he felt powerless against his son's illness. Marcus logged more overtime hours than any other officer at St. Catherine, earning him commendations for dedication while obscuring his desperate need for additional income. Yet his personnel file revealed cracks in his professional armor. In 2015, he received a written warning for excessive force against an inmate. 9 months later, another reprimand followed for unauthorized schedule modifications. Both incidents occurred during periods of particularly intense medical crises with his son. The Department of Correctional Services mandated psychological evaluation after the second incident, but Marcus attended only one session. The psychologist's unfinished assessment noted, "Subject displays signs of emotional exhaustion and isolation, potentially compromising judgment." The relationship between Tanya and Marcus evolved gradually through 2017. It began with minor infractions, a fresh magazine passed during rounds, extra minutes for phone calls, premium items from the commissary that inmates rarely received. Fellow prisoners noticed these small privileges, but few suspected their actual significance. "At first I thought she was just his informant," Keisha Brown, Tanya's cellmate for 18 months, told investigators. "Many guards had favorites who reported back what happened in the blocks. But the way they looked at each other when they thought no one was watching, that was different. Their eyes held conversations their mouths couldn't have in public." By March, the administrative office became their sanctuary. Security footage reviewed during the investigation showed Marcus visited the office 26 times in situations where his duties didn't require his presence. The cameras captured nothing inappropriate, yet staff later reported the tension between them was obvious. He'd find reasons to deliver reports personally instead of sending junior officers, Administrative Clerk Portia Mendez stated. She'd volunteer to work late organizing files whenever he had night shift. Their physical relationship began in June, according to Tanya's later confession. A storage room adjacent to the laundry facility became their first meeting place, a blind spot in the security camera network. Later, they expanded to the maintenance shed during yard hours and occasionally the administrative office after the facility's official closing. 3 other guards suspected the affair, but maintained silence. Officer Raymond Jackson later admitted, "We protect our own. Everyone knew Marcus was going through hell with his kids' medical bills. Nobody wanted to be the one to end his career." The prison's informal code protected them until Tanya's pregnancy made concealment impossible. Have you ever witnessed workplace relationships that crossed professional boundaries? What responsibility do colleagues bear when they notice inappropriate dynamics developing? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe the other guards who stayed silent share culpability in how this tragedy unfolded? Your perspective might help others recognize warning signs before situations turn deadly. The Department of Correctional Services assigned Senior Inspector Gloria Mendez to lead the investigation. With 20 years of experience in corrections oversight, Mendez approached the case methodically, gathering evidence from multiple sources. "My investigation revealed a pattern of calculated deception," Mendez wrote in her official report. Her team analyzed 3 months of security footage, identifying 26 instances where Marcus and Tanya were alone together in unauthorized areas. The surveillance showed them maintaining professional distance in public, while exchanging meaningful glances when they thought nobody was watching. The most damning evidence came from Marcus's personal cell phone. Investigators discovered a messaging app containing over 300 exchanges with a contraband phone registered to Tanya's cell block. The messages progressed from casual conversation to explicit content, with Marcus describing plans for their future together once Tanya completed her sentence. "I can't stop thinking about you. 4 more years feels like forever, but we'll make it work," read one message dated September 2017. When initially questioned, Marcus vehemently denied any improper relationship. "She's making this up to get attention or special treatment," he claimed during his first interview. This defense collapsed when presented with the text messages and testimony from 3 fellow guards who admitted witnessing inappropriate behavior. On February 12, 2018, Marcus finally confessed. "Yes, I'm the father of her baby. I know it was wrong, but this isn't just about breaking rules. We care for each other. That baby is innocent in all this." The media exploded with the story the following day. The Jamaica Observer ran the headline, "Prison Guard Impregnates Inmate, Scandal at St. Catherine." Television crews stationed outside the facility captured footage of Marcus leaving after his termination, his face hidden beneath a jacket. Public reaction divided sharply. Some viewed Tanya as a victim of power abuse, while others labeled her a manipulator who targeted a vulnerable guard. The Minister of National Security announced a comprehensive review of all correctional facilities in response to mounting pressure. Prosecutors charged Marcus with misconduct and sexual exploitation of an inmate, crimes carrying up to 10 years imprisonment. If you're shocked by how this prison relationship escalated and the systemic failures that allowed it to happen, hit the like button now. Your engagement helps others discover this important story about power, vulnerability, and institutional accountability. As Tanya entered her 2nd trimester, her pregnancy became a source of unexpected hope. Medical records indicated normal development, and Dr. Thompson noted Tanya's improved mood during checkups. "I want my sister to raise the baby until I get out," Tanya told the prison counselor. "I can still be a mother, just delayed a few years." She began drafting letters to her family explaining the situation, compiled lists of potential names, and requested pregnancy literature from the prison library. In protective custody, Tanya was sheltered from the worst of the public scandal while focusing on her future role as a mother. For Marcus, each day brought fresh devastation. His wife Veronica filed for divorce immediately after the news broke, gaining temporary full custody of both children. The court froze their joint assets pending criminal proceedings, leaving Marcus unable to pay his mounting legal fees. He moved into his brother Devon's spare bedroom, unemployed and increasingly isolated. "He changed completely in those weeks," Devon Dawkins testified. "My brother had always been disciplined, controlled. Now he barely ate or slept. He'd pace all night muttering about fixing things and making it right. When I suggested therapy, he just stared at me like I couldn't possibly understand." Phone records revealed Marcus called the prison 17 times in early April, each call immediately disconnected. He left increasingly desperate voicemails for the warden, pleading to speak with Tanya just for 5 minutes. On April 15th, Marcus appeared calmer. He shaved, dressed neatly, and told Devon he was meeting with a potential lawyer. Instead, he drove to St. Catherine during shift change, a time he knew from experience created security vulnerabilities. Wearing his old uniform under a jacket, Marcus nodded to a rookie guard who recognized his face but didn't verify his clearance. Security footage captured him moving purposefully through corridors, using his knowledge of blind spots to avoid detection. At 7:42 p.m., Marcus reached the medical wing where Tanya was housed. He displayed outdated credentials to the attending nurse, claiming he needed to collect a statement from the inmate. The nurse, unfamiliar with proper protocol, allowed him entry without supervision, a fatal breach in security that would have catastrophic consequences. News of the murder-suicide exploded across Jamaica, igniting public fury. Hundreds gathered outside the Department of Correctional Services headquarters in Kingston, carrying signs reading "Justice for Tanya" and "Prison Reform Now." Women's rights organizations joined with prisoner advocacy groups in unprecedented coalition, demanding accountability at every level. The government inquiry, completed in August 2018, identified 14 critical security failures that enabled the tragedy. Key findings included inadequate background screening and psychological monitoring of corrections officers, failure to enforce rotation policies, preventing officers from forming inappropriate bonds with inmates, insufficient camera coverage in critical areas, no formal system for reporting suspicious behavior between staff and inmates, improper verification of credentials during shift changes. The report's conclusions led to immediate personnel changes. 3 senior officers received termination notices for negligence, while Warden Patterson resigned before formal dismissal proceedings began. The facility's head of security faced criminal charges for falsifying patrol logs on the night of the incident. Tanya's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Department of Correctional Services, alleging gross negligence and deliberate indifference to obvious warning signs. Their attorney presented evidence that at least 5 staff members had witnessed inappropriate interactions between Marcus and Tanya but failed to report them. "Our daughter made mistakes and was serving her time," Tanya's father stated during a press conference. "She did not deserve a death sentence for falling in love, even inappropriately." The government settled the lawsuit in 2020 for $3.5 million, one of the largest prisoner rights settlements in Jamaica's history. The agreement included no admission of guilt, but mandated comprehensive reforms throughout the correctional system. The tragic deaths at St. Catherine catalyzed fundamental reforms across Jamaica's prison system. The government implemented mandatory body cameras for all officers working in female units, installed comprehensive surveillance systems covering previously neglected areas, and enacted quarterly guard rotations between prison sections to prevent prolonged contact with specific inmates. Perhaps most significantly, Jamaica established the Independent Correctional Oversight Commission with authority to conduct unannounced facility inspections and interview inmates without staff present. Dr. Marcia Bennett, criminologist at the University of the West Indies, notes, "The Wilson Dawkins case exposed the dangerous power dynamics inherent in correctional settings. What appears consensual on the surface can never truly be equal when one person controls another's basic freedoms. This tragedy demonstrates why strict boundaries must be maintained." Today, visitors to St. Catherine encounter a small garden tended by inmates near the facility entrance. A simple stone marker reads, "In memory of lives lost, may lessons learned prevent future harm." The inmates who maintain this space call it Tanya's Garden among themselves, a quiet acknowledgement of a woman whose death forced a broken system to confront its failures. Correctional facilities worldwide have studied this case, with prison systems in Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom modifying their own protocols based on Jamaica's hard-learned lessons. The tragedy has become standard curriculum in corrections officer training programs internationally. This story serves as a powerful reminder that institutional safeguards exist not just to protect inmates, but also to prevent staff from crossing boundaries that lead to devastation for all involved. If this exploration of power, vulnerability, and justice has impacted you, please subscribe to True Crime Hunter now. Your comments help build our community of thoughtful viewers seeking to understand humanity's darkest moments. What institutional reforms do you believe might have prevented this tragedy? Share your thoughts below.